Portable blocks may be fashioned from short lengths of log. If they are a uniform size, about 200 millimeters or 8 inches high, and 750 millimeters or 30 inches long, they can be stacked. Make sure that the notch is long and shallow. Score around the notch with a sharp chisel that is about 30 to 40 millimeters wide. Cut a clean line about 6 millimeters deep and in line with the shape of the notch. Because this notch is wide, it is being cut as a plug cut to remove the major portion of the wood in one piece. If you are a beginning builder, cut the notch by first removing the block of wood at the center. Be careful not to overcut your lines. From here on, cut only a little more than halfway across the notch so that you can more easily see your work. Cut about 5 millimeters or 1/4 of an inch away from the scribe line. When the 4 quarters have been cut, the slabs of wood should break out quite easily. Cut along the scribe line until the coving is correct. Then brush the edge to the scored line. Keep brushing to a minimum. Use the saw at right angles to the work and work very gently. When both notches have been formed, you might want to check the clearance with a straight edge, in order to assure yourself that the log will rest only at the edge. The next step will be to cut the wall groove. This first short portion demonstrates the W cut. The first cut will be just inside the scribe line. Keep the saw upright so that the curves in the scribe line can be more easily followed, and cut about 40 millimeters or 1 1/2 inches deep. The direction of the cut should be on or a little flatter than the radius line of the log. The second cut will be the same on the other side of the scribe. The third cut will reach across from one side to the other and meet with the bottom of the first cut. Be careful not to cut too deeply and damage the base of the groove. You should be able to see or feel at what depth the saw goes through. The fourth cut will remove the other side, and cuts 5 and 6 can be used to reduce the height of the center portion if this is required. Many different profiles have been used for this location, and the 3 most common ones are shown. First, a deep V cut, which is considered to be the least desirable, a W cut, which is the most frequently used, and a cove shape, which is considered to be better or the best. There are a number of different sequences for this job, and the operator should feel free to experiment. Use a discarded round of wood to check the clearance of the work. Whatever shape of groove you select, the log end portion, or overhang, must be cut to a cove shape for its entire length. First, trace in the radius of the cove at the log end as a guide. Then cut a shallow V-groove that does not go below this radius and does not overlap at the center. Note that the saw is held with the blade down so that the cut can be flatter. Because the log ends might be trimmed to a different design shape, it's necessary to maintain the cove that was drawn on the end for the whole distance. Because if the cove relief varies a large amount, it will produce an undesirable appearance at the log end. Work the cove from the log end for the length of the bar. With practice, this cut can be made accurately and quickly, and the quality of your work should be carefully maintained here. If the groove is deep near the notch, it will be necessary to cut a straighter side on the groove near the notch to avoid interference at the scarf. Trim away any wood that remains inside the scribe line to leave a sharp, clean edge. This operation is best done with a very sharp axe or a very heavy chisel. I heartily discourage the use of small chisels for this job because they are too time-consuming. A very sharp gouge knife can also be used for this work, and such a tool will be useful to dress up any remaining high spots inside the groove. Now gently, so that the edge of the groove will not be damaged, roll the log over and cut the scarf. Lay out the dimensions of the scarf with the scarf board in the same way that it was done in the practice notch. Only this time, the bottom edge of the scarf will be a little below the top of the notch. Make a center cut to provide a guide for the slope. Then if you are to use a power plane, start your cut with the back of the saw about 1 blade width inside this mark. Slope the bottom of the saw forward as you go through the center cut. Reach just below the top of the notch and finish the cut about a blade width short of the end mark. If this cut is well aligned and smooth, the amount of work required to complete it will be minimal. If the cut is uneven, it may be improved by brushing with a saw at a 45-degree angle to the log. Plane the saw cut smooth to the marks so that it is more able to shed water. This operation may also be done with hand tools or an angle grinder. The latter will leave a less smooth finish. There are only two more steps before replacing this log on the wall. 1. Dress up the top of the log to facilitate the placing and scribing of the next piece. This can be done with a chainsaw or an axe or a power plane. And finally, in green logs, there is an advantage to making a relief cut down the length of the log and wedging this in order to restrict checking to this hidden location. Your well-cut and finished log may now be replaced on the wall. You have completed a very satisfactory and permanent part of your house. May it give you great pleasure for a long time to come.
He kissed me.